Hi, I'm Coach Corey Wayne, and this is my video coaching newsletter. And the topic of today's newsletter is going to be I waited 5 days to text for our second date. She seemed mad. Did I screw up? Well, this email's from a guy. He's 31. He's new to my work, and he had a girl cancel basically an hour before their first date because she's at work, she's running late, which obviously is pretty rude. So he chastised her about it. And the late great Doc Love, his attitude towards this was when a woman does that at the last minute, it's rude and you get one chance per girl per lifetime. So in other words, he would have been like, she's out. The fact that it's last minute and then he's texting her saying, hey, are we still on for 8 o'clock? I'll go through the text exchanges in a minute. And she's like, oh, hey, sorry, I just left work. Can we do Monday or Tuesday? So she did offer a reschedule, but still, it's extremely rude. But then again, what is a woman's prerogative? Being late. So that's obvious. So he ends up making a rescheduled date. They have it, and they had a really good time. And then since this is the first time he's applying what he's learning in 3% Man, and he's got I think he said 4 other girls that he's seeing that are chasing him, trying to get him to go out on a date. And so he waited 5 days. He said it was really hard. It was nerve-wracking. And I know a lot of the stuff that's in the book is counterintuitive, and you're going to feel weird at times when you first start applying it, especially like doing the kiss test. That's pretty the first time you do it, and then you see the girl look at your lips, you're like, oh shit, now I got to kiss her. And you might not be really ready for it, or you're surprised at how well it goes. Or guys are on a date, and the girl's down to hook up, and they're like far away from their house. They don't have any condoms with them. And they just weren't expecting it to go so well to the point where the girl's ready to sleep with them on the first date. And then they're just not prepared because they don't have the logistics of sex thought ahead of time. Ideally, you want to be 10, 15 minutes away from your place. And so your third date spot that you go is going to be closer to where you are. So if it's going real well and you guys are all over each other, you can say, hey, let's get out and go back to my place and open a bottle of wine or whatever. Or let's go hop in the jacuzzi, or let's go put a movie on. So you got to think about those things. And then so him waiting 5 days was something that was a little nerve-wracking. And so the stuff that's in the book is not set in stone. It's a guideline. And so there's multiple reasons why you do this. If you wait a little bit longer, because the idea is you're trying to go slower than the girl is. Because most guys are in a rush. They get the number, they're either calling that day or the very next day to try to set a date. They come off as too eager, too anxious, and oftentimes talk women out of dating and sleeping with them. And so if you're waiting a few days, you wait 3 to 5 days, like say you meet on a Friday, you get her number, and then you call her Tuesday, Wednesday of the following week to set a date. You're doing it because you're giving her some space and time, and you want to see what her attitude is like. You want somebody who's easygoing, easy to get along with, somebody who's happy to hear from you. Somebody that has the attitude of like, hell yeah, I'd love to go out with you. And when you call a girl or text her after 5 days, and she's like, oh, I thought you lost my number. Oh, I thought you weren't interested. When you hear something like that, that means that she was bummed that she didn't hear from you. So in other words, she likes you. Because it's very hard for the average guy to tell if a girl's really into him or not. Because they often say things that are just contradictory and they don't make any sense. So the idea with the book is to stack the deck in your favor to help you vet the woman better. Because again, if you wait 5 days to reach out and she's got a good attitude, that's great. It's good for her. But if you wait 5 days and she's pissed off and she gives you a hard time, or she's angry and she says she doesn't want to go out with you anymore, well, that's not flexible. That's not easygoing, easy to get along with. That's a chick that's a pain in the ass and probably insecure. Because if you wait 5 days and they're expecting to hear from you sooner, they can text you. They can call you. But they get mad and butthurt and angry at you. That is enough to disqualify them. Because again, you want easygoing, easy to get along with, and a woman who is flexible. Because if you, like in this case, he'd been out on one date and she canceled literally an hour before. So you're trying to determine what her character is like. You don't want to get 6 weeks or 6 months in and find out she's a lunatic. You want to try to find that out as quickly as possible. And so this guy's a little worried because he noticed that she unfollowed him on Instagram. And so he called her. She seemed a little blasé when he reached out, but she still set the date. And so when he wrote this email, that was going to be their second date, but he hasn't written in after that. So we don't know how well it went. Maybe after this is published, he'll send us an email and let us know if she actually kept the date. Because again, good attitude, easygoing, easy to get along with, and flexible. And fourth, you want her to be nice to you. You want a girl that's nice to you. Life is hard enough, and there's a lot of angry, unhappy women that are just going to be a pain in the ass all the time. And so if a chick's constantly getting irritated with you and you barely know her, why would you want to go any further? So let's proceed in a way that gives her some time and space to miss you. So if she's a good girl, has a good attitude, she'll be happy to hear from you. But if she's a bad girl with a bad attitude and a pain in the ass, it's going to piss her off. And if she's pissed off and angry because you didn't call her a few days earlier than she might have expected, is that really easygoing, easy to get along with? Is that somebody who's flexible? Is that a girl who's nice to you and respects you? Or is this a girl that thinks she has the right to be abusive and be a pain in the ass? Because again, easygoing, easy to get along with. Life is tough enough. If you start dating a woman that's a pain in the ass or difficult or she's messed up, instead of her bringing you peace into your life, she's going to bring chaos. Feminine energy is chaos, but some women are just perpetually chaotic, perpetually bring drama, perpetually got shit going sideways in their life, and they want everybody to know about it. So let's go through his email and also go through the text exchange, and because he gives her like a long text, it's kind of a lecture on what he thought about her basically canceling an hour before. And it sounds like if he'd have just showed up, she might have even stood him up. So he doesn't mention how he met her, but let's go through his email. Happy Friday, Coach. I'm watching your videos as they come out daily, and I love tuning in every day. Well, thanks for watching. In 1 week, I finished your 3% Man book, and I'm on the second round. Right inside the front cover, I'm marking a tally for each time I read through it. So ideally, you want to get through it 10 to 15 times because you're trying to learn it so well, you could teach a class on it. And then after you've gone through it the 10 to 15 times, the best students typically go through it every 6 months just to kind of keep it fresh, because whatever you observe, you participate in. And so guys that stop reading the book after the 10 to 15 times, if they get to that many, because most guys just don't read it. Most guys will go through it a couple of times and then that's it. They don't go back to it. They get into a relationship. They never learn the relationship skills and wisdom. And then a year or two later, when they really need it, things spiral out of control because they didn't really take the time to learn it. And then other guys that read it a lot and then get into a relationship but never go back, and they're constantly watching TV and media and movies, you get re-brainwashed again to think and act in ways that are dysfunctional and opposite of what is innate for us guys and girls. I can't wait to continue to solidify this champion mindset for dating. From things I've learned from you just over the past few weeks of videos, I already have 4 or 5 girls chasing me around town trying to get me on a date. I've had 4 dates over the past 4 days, and it almost seems too easy. But guess what? Tonight, I have a date with Jessica again. This will be our second date. So this is after she already canceled the date that they have right before. And so this is like, they're supposed to meet at 8. So at Friday at 6:22 p.m., he texts and he says, 8 o'clock still work? And she says, hi, I'm so sorry. I'm just leaving the office now. Can we do Monday? I'm drained. 6:22, so you're an hour and 38 minutes before you're supposed to meet. And she's like, oh, I'm just leaving the office. She didn't bother to text him and say, hey, I can't make it. I'm super tired. Can we push it back a little? It's just rude. It's inconsiderate. And it's disrespectful. Now, granted, women, a lot of women, I should say, are not the greatest with time. They just kind of show up late. They're like a day late and $1 short. But it's really nice dating women that are punctual and respect you and respect your time. But you're often, you date enough women, you're going to see a lot of them are like this. They're just always perpetually late. So Friday at 8:52 p.m., he responds because he's like looking at this going, he's like, really? Hour and 38 minutes before we're supposed to get together, I'm just leaving work. I can't make it. That just sounds like she doesn't give a shit. And so this guy wants to make sure if he's going to actually reschedule that she doesn't waste his time again. Because this is a Friday night. And most busy professionals, what do you got? Friday night maybe? Saturday night? Sunday you're doing errands? You may be getting ready for the work week. You're probably going to bed early so you can get up early Monday morning and get after it, right? And so if you got 1 or 2 nights a week that are available to date or see friends or family or do social things, and you're planning on going out with a girl and you told your buddies that, hey, I got a date Friday, and then an hour and 38 minutes before, she's like, nah, I can't make it. Nah, I'm just leaving work. I'm drained. Just totally doesn't respect him or his time at all. So that's a major red flag. It's not a good way to start dating. But we don't know how he met her. Maybe he met her online. If you met her online, this is kind of common because it's, what do you know? You don't know her. She doesn't know you. I mean, at the end of the day, there's more dudes on dating apps than there are girls. And so women have all the leverage. And if you're going to play in that arena, you're just going to get a high incidence of these kinds of things. That's why it's so much better to meet women as a side effect to having a great social life in person. Especially if you meet them through mutual friends or acquaintances or your social circle or your coworkers or whatever. Because then they know people that know you, and if they jerk you around, people close to them are going to be like, hey, I set you up with Bob, I introduced you, and then you stand them up for a date? I vouch for you. It's like, what the fuck are you doing? You better call him and apologize and make it up to him. That's what typically happens. But if it's online dating, it's like, she didn't know this guy. Who cares? There's probably 10 other dudes behind him that she's willing to go out with. So they tend to have the leverage, and most guys let them get away with it. So he says, no worries, I'm busy for the next few days, maybe sometime next week. So Sunday at 2:25, she says, okay, just let me know. And then so he says, as of now, Thursday or Friday night, I'm open. Choose wisely. I don't do last-minute cancellations twice. So, let me back up because this text exchanges. So she made the date. Looks good. Friday, he says, I know you're probably at work now. Give me a ring back when you can. That's 10:44 a.m. Friday, 3:21. She says, hey, sorry, I've been slammed with work. Friday, 4:47. He says, no sweat. Been crazy here as well. She doesn't reply. And then an hour and a half later, that's when he says, 8 o'clock still work? And then she's, oh, sorry. So he's doing a lot of texting, and he shouldn't be having to do this, but maybe he didn't have a lot of rapport with her, and he was worried that she was going to dip or cancel on him. So she says, because these texts are out of order. He says, as of now, Thursday or Friday night, I'm open. Choose wisely. I don't do last-minute cancellations twice. And so she writes like 4 messages back. She says, I guess it wasn't no worries, LOL. Someone suddenly left the team that helped my role a lot that day, so it was long and sudden. Remember, the longer the excuse, the bigger the lie. If you were upset, you could have communicated that you didn't like the last-minute cancellation. So again, him saying, hey, no worries, he should have said, well, that's kind of rude. It's, an hour before we're supposed to meet. But again, he's texting her back and forth. It doesn't look like he really had a definite date set with her. Or maybe he was fearful she wasn't going to keep it. So he's texting too much because he's worried she's not going to go out with him. And maybe she picked up on that. And again, it's clear throughout the day on Friday as he's trying to text her, she's going several hours before replying and just saying she's slammed at work. It's almost like she's kind of dismissive, like treating him like he's a gnat. Like, go away, gnat, I'm busy. If you were upset, you could have communicated that you didn't like the last minute cancellation. And I would have given more context instead of making a weird passive comment insinuating it's in my character to do it multiple times. Take care. Take care, usually when a woman says that, it's like have a nice life. He says passive and weird. He says, I'm communicative and direct. I'm directly saying that I won't do it twice. Canceling 1 hour beforehand is behavior I have no interest in. So I'm communicating that, no? Imagine if I was tired and getting drained at work. Wouldn't you appreciate and respect me letting you know ahead of time that I can't make it? Not while I knew you were getting ready to leave the house with nothing communicated. At the end of the day, if you aren't interested or just are seeing someone else, that's totally okay. That's what it came off as. Just let me know. And then let me see if... And so she says, let's do Thursday. Don't be grumpy. I was trying to see if I could make it, but the day got worse and worse. Again, a lot of women are they suck with time and time management. But it's still fucking rude. Would she do that to her parents? To her dad? Would she do that to her doctor when she shows up or doesn't show up? I mean, sometimes it's like, I know like my phone sessions, it's like people are paying to reserve an hour of my time in advance. If they have to give me 4 business days notice in order to change the appointment, just because I'm dealing with people that are on the other side of the globe, and sometimes I might not hear back from them for 24 hours because when we're awake, they're asleep, and then vice versa. And so it might take 3 or 4 days just to get somebody on the other side of the world into those time slots. And so for whatever reason, if the guy doesn't show up to his phone sessions, I still get paid because, again, you're paying to reserve an hour of my time in advance. And it's made very clear. Everybody agrees to it before the appointment gets on my calendar. And if they don't show up, well, that's on them. So they know what the deal is. And if they don't like it, well, they can always get somebody else to coach them. Because my time is valuable. And I got a limited number of spaces per week to fit people in. And therefore, when I first started, I would let people slide, but it just got to the point, like early on, it's like people will totally waste your time and not give it. Oh, hey, sorry, I can't make it. Like, you call them up. Oh, I'm sorry, I couldn't make it. Hey, let's reschedule. And they just blow you off. And then once I instituted that policy, it stopped it. It was no longer an issue. They would keep it. So if you don't respect yourself and your time, then nobody else will either. And so it's good that he stood up for himself and put her in her place, but she's kind of making excuses for her behavior. Well, you said no worries, and so she's calling him out on it, but it was rude. And so the conversation needed to be had, and so he says, no grumpy Mr. Scrooge here. Christmas is over, babe. See you Thursday, 8 p.m. She says perfect. So they had that particular date, and so after that, he says, to give an update of what went down after the text exchange from above and from our first date. So this is him describing what they did on the first date. We went out to downtown Delray and had an absolute blast. I could see she was heavily into me the moment we sat next to each other. I'm pretty sure he met her through online dating because he lives in Fort Lauderdale. She lives in Delray, which is about 30 to 45 minutes, depending on traffic, on a drive. And I guess she lives north of Delray, about a half hour away. So she's probably coming from like North Palm Beach or maybe in Port St. Lucie or maybe Jupiter area. So that tells me he probably met her on online dating. He says, I could see she was heavily into me the moment we sat next to each other, constantly touching me and leaning into me, and she was the one trying to ask me all the questions. It's almost like we were battling each other for who could ask the most questions. So it sounds like she's a little masculine too. Because I've dated women that are kind of like this. They're very pushy. They're very masculine. When you try to ask them questions, they'll give you a short answer, then turn it around and try to run the conversation. And that's usually the chicks that are professionals, boss girl energy, because they're just used to being in their masculine to compete in a man's world. And Women that do that, a lot of them have a hard time kind of taking that masculine armor off and then being feminine and girly and letting go. I could tell there was some huge attraction here. Anyways, we had a fucking blast and went from one place to the next and played darts after another spot. We ended up hugging, touching, and making out on several occasions and said goodbye later on. She had to drive 30 minutes north, and I drove 30 minutes south back down to Fort Lauderdale. Otherwise, I would have proposed a little hulu and hang action at my place. So after the date, I did not message her, and she ended up messaging me the next day. I had a good time last night, thank you, with a smiley face. Which I responded 3 hours later with, smiling from ear to ear on my drive home. Next time you're getting your butt whipped in darts. She then sent a screenshot of what her dad said to her when he saw in her location that she was at a dive bar so late at night. He says, I'll attach that below as well. So let me see, because I got Dad's message too. So this is Dad to her. He says, why were you at a dive bar that late on a work night? That's unlike you. I was on a date. I'm 26 years old. Daddy location is for emergencies. We were playing darts. Is he Christian? Did you win? She says Catholic, and yes. He says, that's my girl. So maybe she's got a good relationship with her dad. I mean, the fact Dad's checking up on her and seeing where she's at and what she's doing, that's a good sign. Girls that have a good relationship with their father and they love their dad and they respect their dad are usually pretty easygoing, easy to get along with. But it's still early. We don't know what we don't know. He says, anyways, I didn't really continue going back and forth with her texting, so I plan to message her in a few days and wait an entire 5 days to get back to her. He says, wow, that was fucking tough. Around day 4, I had a pit in my chest wondering if this was way too long to reach out. Yeah, first few times you do it, you're like, ah, because you're obviously a good dude. But remember, this is a girl that blew you off an hour before you're supposed to reach out. And we're vetting her to see what is her attitude like. Is she easygoing, easy to get along with? Is she flexible? Is she nice to you? Or is she a hothead, insecure pain in the ass that's going to make your life hell? He says, and guess what? It was, haha. I noticed on Instagram that she had unfollowed me on day 4 after having watched my stories for all those days I never reached out to her. It's not that it waited too long. What does that tell you? She unfollows you after 4 days? It means she got mad. Why'd she get mad? Because she cared. She liked you. But that's kind of immature. After 4 days, she's like, oh, he's not going to call me, so screw him. I'm unfollowing him. So that also tells us that she likes him. And so it's not that it was too long. Again, you do this on purpose because her whole reaction when you finally do reach out is what you're really looking for and why you do it. Because again, you don't want to be dating lunatics. If you don't believe me, then just do it your way. And, you know, you want to reinvent the wheel. I mean, you're brand new to this. I've been teaching this shit for 20 years and taught it to tens of thousands of people all over the world that I've done phone sessions with and answered their emails. It's like you see the same patterns over and over because an insecure girl is going to be really mad. She's going to really butthurt, and she'll be angry when you call her. And if that's their attitude, that's not somebody that's nice to you. That's somebody that's insecure and a pain in the ass. If a girl gets upset after just 5... Doc Love's rule was 5 to 9 days you wait. Because, again, you're trying to vet for, is she got a good attitude? Is she flexible? If she blows her top because she feels like you waited too many days, again, she could have texted you. She could have reached out to you. But this is the first time this guy's done it. And you can tell already he's scared of her. And what I saw in his first email is that he's 31. He's always been single. It doesn't sound like he's only had short-term relationships. And so he's one of those guys that's great for the first 3 or 4 weeks. And then after that, he talks, texts, and turns the women off to the point where they didn't want to date him anymore. So obviously his approach has not been working. That's why he's here. People don't come to me when things are going well. People come to me when shit's going sideways. She must have thought I wasn't interested and got angry. Yep. He says, I don't care, or I don't know, what are your thoughts? I was like, Yeah, she got a little angry, but this is the important part. This is what really matters. We don't really give a shit if she gets angry. But we do care about how she treats us, even though she's angry. Is she biting her lip? Is she losing her cool? Or is she being nice and sweet? A girl that has a good relationship with her dad, she might get upset and feel like he doesn't care, but at the end of the day, she's happy to hear from him. A girl with daddy issues is going to be pissed off and mad and angry and seek to punish you. And that's what we're trying to avoid, is those women, and weed them out. So there's a method to the madness here. The next morning on day 5, I called her early morning when I knew she was on her way into work. Ring, ring. Hello. Her not sounding excited, playing it cool. Hey, how's your morning? Are you driving? And she says, no, I'm at work early to work on things. What's up? You can tell she's her ego a little roughed up. He says, oh, okay, got it. Well, I just wanted to say I had a great time seeing you last week and would love to see you again. Again, this was just last week. You do 1 date per week, just like the book says, where you initiate. There's a reason you take measured steps. You're trying to weed out the lunatics. If you don't believe me, then do it your way. And then the problem is you don't find out she's a lunatic till 2 or 3 months in. And then if you're goo goo gaga over her, even once you find out she's a lunatic, you'll put up with it because you're emotionally invested at that point. I want you to find out really quickly if she's nuts so you can move on before you get emotionally attached. It's a lot harder to get over heartbreak. And if you're 3-4 months down the road and you find out she's nuts, you'll probably stay with her 6 months to a year. Especially if she's hot and the pussy's good. He says, what's your schedule tail end of the week? And she says, I like seeing you too. Let me get back to you, my schedule, and let you know. He says, okay, awesome. Have a great day of the week. And she says, thanks, you too. So this is the point where you give her, because again, guys that aren't used to this will, oh my God, I got to wait for her to get back to me. Again, we're making it easy for her to follow through on what she says, which is that she's going to check her schedule and get back, or to flake out and disappear from his life forever. So if she never responds or never reaches out, then you delete the number. Because you want to make sure she's into you. A girl that really likes you will make the effort. If she doesn't care, she'll dip. And remember, this is a girl that canceled an hour before the date. And yet, still this guy felt guilty about waiting 5 days. And he's second-guessing himself. Oh, I don't want to do that again. I don't want to upset her. She might get mad at me. Good. We want her to get mad because we want to see how she operates as quickly as possible. If you follow what's in the book, it'll bring out the best in the best and the worst in the worst. And if you haven't read it, if you're new here, understandingrelationships.com, just subscribe to the email newsletter and the book will open right up in your web browser and you can start reading. You don't have to spend any money. You try before you buy. She then messaged me a few hours later and let me know she's open Friday or Saturday, which now, tonight, I have plans to pick her up and take her bowling. I'm super pumped. So, what do we learn? Flexible, easygoing, easy to get along with. She got upset that he waited 5 days because she assumed he didn't like her, and that's why she unfollowed him. But when he reached out, she was glad to hear from him. And she had a good attitude. She didn't get mad. She didn't get butthurt. She didn't blow her top. So that's good for her. She's redeeming herself. But again, it's still early. This is only the second date. And I haven't seen an email from him to give us an update if she actually kept it. Because if she cancels at the last minute for a BS reason, then she's definitely out. But if it goes well, since he's picking her up, he's probably going to be... The question I had was this, Coach. I feel like I shouldn't have waited the entire 5 days so structurally like that. Yes, you should have. Again, Doc Love was 5 to 9 days. Can you imagine waiting 9 days? But she had a good attitude. That's what we're trying to determine. Trying to weed out the lunatics, especially if you're doing online dating. There's going to be a lot more girls on there that tend to be nutty versus the ones you meet in person. She clearly was turned off by that amount of time going by. She wasn't turned off because she still set a date with you. She was upset, which means that she cares. And again, that's what we're trying to determine. We don't want a time waster. We don't want a girl that just wants to go out so we can fill her belly up with food and drink and then get a peck in the cheek. There's some serious high attraction here, so I believe after tonight I will wait just maybe 3 or so days. Well, again, it's not etched in stone, but we do it for a reason. We're trying to determine our character, and we're trying to identify the lunatics and the girls that are going to make our lives hell so we can get the fuck rid of them and find somebody who's easygoing, easy to get along with, and who's nice to you. So maybe 3 or so days and reach back out to set up another. What are your thoughts? Well, you being scared of a woman, that is your problem. That's why you've never had a girlfriend and never been in a relationship, because you're afraid to upset them. And you're starting to take your power back, and it's kind of scary because you've always been too soft and squishy with the ladies. And that's why you're one of those guys that gets maybe 3 or 4 weeks and you get dumped. Now the tables are turned, and all the power is on your side of the table where it belongs, because men are supposed to be the leader. It's our job to lead the interaction. You're the one with the penis. You penetrate her with your strength, not the other way around. Unless you're one of those dudes that likes the chick to give it to you with a strap on. It's like, whatever. Different strokes for different folks. I don't judge here. I'm just here to help you get what you want, stack the deck in your favor so you have the best experiences, and you can avoid the Fruit Loops and identify them as quickly as possible. So if you got a question or challenge and you want to get my help, go to understandingrelationships.com, click the coaching tab at the top of your screen on any page of my website, and book a coaching session with yours truly. If you guys haven't already signed up for our paying exclusive members only content in the video description of this video, you can join on YouTube or you can join on Spotify. If you guys just want to watch videos, YouTube and Spotify would be your best bet. But if you like the email analysis that goes along with these videos, and plus on Spotify and the website, there's going to be videos that are there that are just not on YouTube. You know, especially like the reaction videos and police shootings and stuff like that, because I'll go through those and critique them, some of the political stuff. You know, stuff about the Kalach shot, that stuff can't go anywhere near YouTube because they'll remove it. So there is going to be more content, more members-only content on the website and on Spotify, because free speech is, I mean, especially on my website, exists there. I don't want to say what I want. I haven't had any problems with Spotify. They've been great. But like I said, YouTube is, you know, like G and PG rated. There's just stuff you can't touch. So again, understandingrelationships.com, click the plans tab. When you get there on my website, you can do a 7-day free trial. So you can check out all the hundreds and hundreds of videos that are members only on the website and that only the paying members have access to. And so typically what you'll get is 5 additional video coaching newsletters like this one per week that only paying members have access to on the website. And we have a weekly class on 3% and a weekly class on mastering yourself. That's my 2 main books on the website, where we literally go page by page and discuss the concepts with myself and the girls and Chunky. We do, like I said, we do 1 episode of those per week, and all the previous episodes are there on YouTube and Spotify and the website, understandingrelationships.com. Just click the plans tab when you get there. And if you do the 7-day free trial on the website and you choose an annual plan, you get a 25% discount for paying the whole year up front. So go there now, understandingrelationships.com, click the plans tab, sign up for a 7-day free trial for our premium content. Until next time, I will talk to you soon.